With the struggles of Kelly Johnson, Infante has kind of inherited the leadoff spot, and he's flourished with it. He was 2 for 3 last night. Throwing strikes, something that Sanchez has scuffled with a bit this year. 14 walks in 5 starts. Ross makes a catch.
Yeah, it's interesting, Rich, even with Kelly Johnson in the lineup, Infante still hits leadoff today.
Yeah, and Chipper's not in this lineup, and that changes the Braves certainly. No Chipper, no McCann. And so for Sanchez, he goes to work against Escobar.
And after Escobar, Bobby Cox has the back-to-back lefties in Garrett Anderson and Casey Kochman.
Anderson on deck. That ball's in the air to right field. Ross goes back to the track, makes the catch. So a couple of fly ball outs, a good start for Sanchez, and up comes the venerable Garrett Anderson.
We talk about this all the time, and especially with all the kids in attendance today. If any of them have prospects of continuing on playing baseball and they like to play the outfield, watch Cody Ross. The way he goes after balls, more often than not, he's right there.
Anderson last night drove in 3. Last night was a maddening night for the Marlins, and I'm sure for Marlin fans, as the Fish saw the Braves push across 8 early runs. And it was a combination of walks, of errors, base running mistakes. The Marlins mounted a comeback, but they never quite could get even and ended up losing the game 8-6. Sanchez thought it was a pretty good breaking ball. And the count's 2-1.
He's thrown 3 pitches to Anderson. He stayed away on all 3, and they've been close. The one a strike, but the 2 that missed didn't miss by much.
You know, you said something earlier about Sanchez, and it wasn't balls and strikes or first pitch strikes or breaking balls. It was body language.
Mm-hmm.
And he misses and walks Garrett Anderson. Shocking news in baseball. About 20 minutes ago, this story broke. The Los Angeles Times is reporting that Manny Ramirez game. No reports on the substance or any other details are out yet, but the Los Angeles Times and all the other major news organizations now picked that story up and are running with it.
Yeah, the Dodgers off to a 21-8 start, and they're perfect at home, 13-0 at Dodger Stadium.
Line shot over Hanley's head and into center. Maven's there, and Kochman has a base hit. So the Braves with a couple of runners. Sanchez really hasn't thrown that many pitches. And here's Frank Coor, who has shown signs of rebounding from his biggest disappointment in his young career, and that was the season that he suffered through last year, hitting just .239 with only 11 home runs. Frank Coor's on a 7-game hit streak. You can see he's at .287.
That's a good pitch because Frank Coor is such a tremendous first pitch fastball hitter. He'll jump on that first pitch fastball. If you just throw over a get me over breaking ball, a lot of times he just takes it.
The first inning has been tough for Sanchez and for any starter. When you put your team in a hole early on, that can be a struggle. Marlins saw that last night. 10 runs in 5 starts in the first inning. And last night, Graham Taylor just couldn't pull it together. The Marlins didn't help him. Bonifacio's error opened the door for 4 unearned runs. But Taylor ended up going just 2 1/3. 7 hits, 8 runs. Jammed him. Because the Marlins had to use the bullpen so extensively last night, Meyer, Pinto, Nunez, and Lindstrom, Carlos Martinez was called up and has joined the team. And Graham Taylor sent back to Double-A. Sanchez has gone 2-2. Labrum surgery in 07. In the air, Ross will handle all 3 outs in this first inning. Sanchez gets through the first without a run. Here come the Fish.
Florida Marlins Baseball está disponible en español vía SAP y es Florida Marlins Baseball está disponible en español vía SAP y es presentado por KFC.
Braves and Fish. Marlins lineup. Emilio Bonifacio in the leadoff spot. Cameron Maben hits second. Hanley Ramirez, Jorge Cantu. Jeremy Hermida in the 5 spot. Ugla 6. Cody Ross. Ronnie Polino gives John Baker the day off, and Sanchez is in the 9 position. And here is 25-year-old, rather 23-year-old Jair Jurgens.
Yeah, pitching like a 35-year-old. With an ERA of 1.89, he has been solid for the Braves. Good fastball, a slider, but probably his best pitch is a changeup that has some sink to it.
He has been outstanding this year. His ERA is under 2, 1.89. He's given up just 1 home run in 6 starts. The Braves as a staff have given up just 15. That's lowest in baseball. And Jurgens has pitched some of his best games in losses. Braves really haven't supported him that well.
Take a look at the scouting report. He was certainly a surprise last year. That fastball cuts and sinks. Very good fielder out there on the mound as well. And I say a surprise last year because as a rookie he was 13-10 with a nice 3.68 ERA.
And of course he came over from the Detroit Tigers organization when the Braves decided Yunel Escobar was the shortstop of the future. They sent Edgar Renteria up to the Tigers. And boy, did they get quite a pitcher in return. I know the Tigers are stocked with good young arms. This was one of them. He's the first pitcher from Curacao to pitch in the big leagues. Chiron Martis of the Nationals would follow him shortly. And of course, the great baseball hero, played for Bobby Cox for many years, Andrew Jones from Curacao. Jurgens, in fact, was a bat boy when he was 6 or 7 years old on the youth team that Jones played on. So Jones was the hero around the island, and Jurgens got to see him up close as a bat boy.
Well, what a thrill. And every so often I'll check on Andrew Jones, who's with Texas, had that dismal season last year with the Dodgers. He's not playing all the time, but he has his average over 300, so obviously he's off to a better start than the kind of year he had last year in L.A.
Now you got a good battle here. Jurgens is trying to throw that high fastball by Bonifacio. And Bonifacio is having a hard time laying off that pitch this year.
But at least he's fouling him off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now the question is going to be, if Jurgens takes a little bit higher, will Bonifacio take it and get himself at first base?
We'll soon find out.
Instead, he slaps it into center field, base hit.
That's a good adjustment by Emilio Bonifacio. Look at that. He knows that he had a good battle, and he knows he did something that he had trouble with earlier in the year. Another high fastball. He stayed on top of it. That's exactly what Jim Presley's preached to him all year. So a good adjustment and a good at bat.
We will talk with Jim Presley live during this ball game in the 5th inning. That was a 10-pitch at bat. And Bonifacio is certainly a threat to run. Maben at the top of the order. These two young bats, one of the challenges for the Fish is to get Bonifacio and Maben untracked. He was almost picked off. With the tag on his helmet, that came just as his hand got to the base.
Well, we showed you in the scouting report a good fielder, and usually that means a good move, too.
Maben fouls a 91-mile-an-hour fastball away. Cameron, in last night's ball game, was active, scored a couple runs, had a base hit. But he pops this one up out in the shallow right. Francoeur. One down.
Cameron's another one they've been working up with fastballs, too. Let's see how the defense sets up for the Atlanta Braves this afternoon. The veteran Garrett Anderson, the rookie Jordan Schaefer, and Francoeur filling out the outfield. Omar Infante has been terrific. Escobar at short, Kelly Johnson and Kochman on the right side. David Ross has actually caught more games, started more games this year than Brian McCann.
We told you earlier that the Los Angeles Times was reporting that Manny Ramirez has been suspended 50 games for testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug. Major League Baseball has just confirmed that report. So it's been confirmed by Major League Baseball.
You know, it's one of those things, Rich. It's certainly, without question, a blow to the Dodgers. But for me, it's always a sad thing in baseball. You look at certain players and you say, man, that guy's always been this, and then you find out something else.
What's stunning about this news is Ramirez is one of the greats of the game. And there have been guys, the J.C. Romeros, that have tested positive and have the 50-game suspension. Jordan Schaefer, the center fielder for the Braves, who tested positive in the minor leagues last year, had a 50-game suspension that he served. Bonifacio's running. Ross's throw. Out. Bonifacio's not happy. Here comes Freddie.
I don't know, when the throw is high, how that tag could have been applied on his leg before his leg got to the bag. And Freddie's going to ask the same question to Eric Cooper. Second time this year that Bonifacio has been caught stealing.
Let's take a look.
High throw. Here's the throw. It's very high. Boy, it's bang, bang.
And the ball came out. Watch. He didn't hold the ball.
The ball came out. That is not an out because, first of all, you see the call made when the infielder's trying to transfer to make a throw.
Yes.
First of all, there's no throw to be made, and he did not have control of that ball when he put the tag on Bonifacio.
It was almost as if Cooper was focused on, does the tag beat him, and did the foot get to the bag? Hanley hits the ball to right field, hits it a long way. Back goes Francoeur looking up. That ball's gone!
Give the kids a souvenir.
Hanley homers. The call at second cost the Marlins another run, but they do get one on the 4th home run by Hanley Ramirez.
Boy, Hanley has gotten locked in. He's been rocketing balls to the other field. He's been pulling balls to left. 5-game hitting streak now. He's 7 for his last 15. And this ball, look at the target is outside, the pitch is outside, and Hanley goes right there with it. Beautiful swing. And by the way, there's no way Eric Cooper can say that the second baseman, Kelly Johnson, had control of the ball because he didn't.
Here is Cantu now. Hottest hitter for the Fish. Cantu sends one out to center field. And Schaefer is there, and he makes the catch. We're going to take another look at that play when we get back. Hanley Ramirez blasts one opposite field, and it's 1-0. Hanley Ramirez homering. Now, you've seen a couple of looks at the play. On this replay, watch Eric Cooper, watch what he's watching, and watch his reaction. There's the tag. Ball's popped out. Cooper calls him out. Now, watch what Cooper does. He says it's out on the transfer.
And it taken out. He wasn't transferring. He never reached in with his right hand.
Absolutely.
So it was not out on the transfer. That was just his way of recovering from a bad call. Never... The right hand never came in.
And a line drive into right field. Kelly Johnson is aboard for the leadoff single in the second. So
enough of that. Is a bad call, bottom line.
All right, let's move on to Hanley Ramirez and that home run. We had noted that the Braves staff has given up the fewest amount of homers in all of baseball, and Jurgens had given up just 1 home run all season before Hanley's homer.
That was in his last start.
David Ross, Jordan Schaefer And then Jurgens, the pitcher.
Talking about Ross, this is his 15th start behind the plate. Brian McCann with his eye problems that he's had, and they expect him back soon. He's only started 12.
Runner goes, a hit and run, and it's fouled back over the screen. McCann last night was to make a rehab start. However, the glasses that they had sent to him, one of the lenses was off, so the only prescription glasses he had were sunglasses. The problem was it was a night game.
If it had been a day game, he'd have been all right.
Yes. Sounds like they have the proper glasses. He's eligible to come off the disabled list tomorrow. And the Braves, you would expect, would welcome him back as soon as they feel he's ready to go. 1-1 to David Ross. This was a part of the order that gave the Marlins problems, especially Graham Taylor. You can take all the things about last night's ball game, but if the Marlins just got Derek Lowe out in the second and the third inning, they would have won the game. Lowe had the sacrifice bunt that Bonifacio dropped.
And he was giving an out there.
And then Lowe walked to load the bases in the third. He was the last hitter that Taylor faced. And of course that ended up being a 3-run inning.
Talk about the Braves. They're not a base stealing club. They've only stolen 5 bases this year.
Ball's hit pretty well to left field, and that ball's hit in the seats in left field. David Ross, just his third, and the Braves are right back on top. They had an answer last night. Every time the fish mounted something, the Braves seemed to answer, and they do here.
And it didn't take long, and David Ross with a solid swing. David Ross has always had power. He had a couple of years ago with Cincinnati. He hit 17 home runs, so he does give you that. And there's a breaking ball, very similar to the pitch that Ricky Nolasco threw to Derek Lee with a grand slam home run at Wrigley. Just a flat breaking ball, middle of the plate.
Where Sanchez gave up 2 home runs at Wrigley. One was to Lee, as you talked about. The other was to Ryan Theriot. And of course he gave up the 2-run double to Ted Lilly. That was a crushing blow as well. Schaefer is a struggling hitter right now. He's punched out 14 times in his last 5 games. He golfs one to right. Ross makes the catch. So the Braves have some good swings here in the second. And here comes Jurgens.
You know, the Braves have taken the lead. I guess I couldn't give it up all the way, Rich. But it should be a 2-2 game.
To Jurgens. You know, when you're struggling and you're facing the opposing pitcher and you can't throw a strike,
and you miss that badly.
Here's the 2-0. And that strike is a borderline one. Sanchez trying to find that confidence, trying to find that rhythm that he had back in '06. And it's, when you talk to pitching coaches and people around the game, the labrum surgery is oftentimes more troublesome in terms of coming back than Tommy John surgery.
Absolutely.
You can see Paulino trying to get him going. Count full, 3-2.
And if you think back, Anibal Sanchez was a control pitcher. Just throwing good strikes like that. He wasn't the type of pitcher that was going to throw 95 miles an hour. He moved the ball around very well. And that's a nice comeback after falling behind to Jurgens to get some pitches in the strike zone and get an out.
Mark Wiley uses the term aggressive in the strike zone. And that's what Sanchez was, and that's what he's trying to recapture. Here's Infante.
But I guess to take that to another level, there's a big league strike zone and just a regular strike. Big league strike zones on the outer half of the plate and the inner half of the plate, not down the middle of the plate. He's having trouble with that pitch too, his breaking ball.
That one popped up into the seats. This place is filled with kids. It's weather day. And when Anibal Sanchez was a kid, growing up in Venezuela, his family would come to Miami, and he would come to Marlin games. So he was in this ballpark and saw the Marlins play long before he signed with them. Some of the highlights from weather day. They sent Craig up in the weather balloon. There he goes. I think he's somewhere over Hialeah at this point. We will get a report shortly on any high pressure systems. There's the 1-2. It's outside.
Winds are shifting. He may be over the Glades. Who knows? That weather balloon kind of looked like Mr. Met.
Yeah, I think the liquid nitrogen was a big hit with the kids. Don't try that at home. Here comes Maben. He's in to make the catch. But the Braves get a 2-run homer from David Ross. And it's 2-1. Into facing a guy in Derek Lowe where it's hard to elevate a ball.
I want you to watch the balance on each swing. Look at that area of his body. Each swing right there. Good balance, tremendous balance, and just a hot hitter right now in Jorge Cantu.
That first swing was a 3-run homer. The next 2 were RBI doubles. Geico quote, I'm going to call Tim Wakefield in Boston and come up with a knuckleball the next time I face him just to see if it works. That from Derek Lowe.
A former teammate, Tim Wakefield.
Yeah, on facing Jorge Cantu. 7 for 8 now against Wakefield, or against Lowe.
That's a good line by Derek Lowe.
Now Jurgens is given a 1-run lead. Hermida. And it's 2-1. Jurgens gave up the Hanley Ramirez homer and got a real break on the call at second base when Bonifacio appeared safe. When Kelly Johnson dropped the ball on a tag, Eric Cooper disagreed. Freddie argued. Escobar, tough play.
Wow.
And he makes it. He's really good at short.
I was questioning Escobar picking that ball barehanded because it was still coming at him pretty swiftly. I thought he had time to reach out with the backhand of the glove, but it took a funny turn. It was squibbed off the end of the bat, a good changeup. But look at this, barehand pick across his body and gets the out at first base. Got some help from Casey Kochman, his first baseman. That's a nice play by Yunel Escobar.
Escobar, a brilliant shortstop growing up in Cuba. Escaped from Cuba, came to shore in Miami, and has now been in the big leagues for a couple of seasons. His second full season as the Braves shortstop.
Yeah, remember, first played second base.
Yeah, his third year in the big leagues. He kind of was tutored by Renteria, and of course Renteria is the guy that the Braves traded to get Jurgens.
That hasn't worked out as well for Detroit as it has for the Atlanta Braves.
Uggla fouls it back.
Renteria gone from Detroit now.
Well, in the offseason, the Braves, trying to make sense of their rotation. Jurgens at one point was thought to be their #1 starter as they tried to assemble a staff. But when they added Vasquez and Lowe, he kind of slid to the #3 spot. Uggla out to center. Cody Ross is coming up. You can lock in priority seating for the new Marlins ballpark today. Purchase a current Marlins season ticket plan and reserve your spot. 1-877-MARLINS, the number to call now.
There we are, Rich, right there.
Nice. In fact, I think that's that weather balloon that Craig is in up there in the left-hand corner. Is hovering above the site right now. Here's Ross. One of the things I like about the early drawings and the plans for the stadium, it's a roof and it's retractable. It'll be air conditioned, climate controlled, but it still has the look and the feel, just in the drawings, of a ballpark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, I always like that. It's a ballpark, not a stadium.
I think of the parks similar to that, Houston has the feel of a park. Seattle has the feel of a park. I think in Arizona, that's not quite the feel of a ballpark. Cody Ross, center field, hits it pretty well. Schaefer got turned around and makes the catch. Jurgens works a brief second. It's 2-1 Braves. And Kochman. Let's see if Sanchez can pull it together. 2 base runners in the first, a 2-run homer in the second, and the second time through for Escobar. You know, one of the things you have to really respect about Escobar and any of the Cuban players that defected, escaped, came to this country to play baseball, whether it's in the minor leagues or whether they get to the major leagues. I mean, as a youngster, to make that decision, and at the time he was, I believe, 21, to make the decision to get in a boat, and with all the apprehension of leaving your family behind, not to mention the hardship and the danger of getting off the island and getting here to Miami. But those Cuban players, they know the success that other Cubans have had in the big leagues, and they knew that, and they know, guys that are still there, that their opportunities there are very limited. You can play for the national team, that's all well and good.
And Rich, I think, and this is just my opinion, that players that have gone through all that, I think because at this level to deal with all the things major league players have to deal with, it gives them an extra edge of mental toughness.
I agree. Sanchez, good bite on the breaking ball, and he gets Escobar.
Yeah, nice slider. He was able to get ahead and then exploit the strike zone, expand it a little bit. And Escobar's an aggressive hitter, and he chases it. So good pitch by Sanchez.
The discouraging thing and the encouraging thing about Sanchez is that he has shown signs of his old self. He will reel off an inning or two of the Sanchez of 2006. Hanley to his left. I mean, these first 2 outs here in the 3rd inning, the strikeout of Escobar, he gets a good hitter in Anderson to hit a grounder to the opposite side.
Make another couple of good pitches, he'll have a quick inning and he'll get himself back in the flow.
And I think that's one of the things that Mark Wiley preaches, that flow, that tempo, working quickly, staying in some sort of a groove. Sanchez himself had to undergo just an awful experience when he lost an infant son in '07. That ball is smoked to right field and deep and gone. And the Braves have another home run. That's 2. Kochman has a pair of hits.
Kochman, not a long home run hitter, a good line drive hitter, and I think that showed his perfect swing. Line drive, just snuck it over the fence down the right field line. He's 2 for 2, and that fastball left up a little bit out over the plate.
Braves have been waiting for him to hit a home run. That's his first of the season. And he's closing in on 100 at bats. Here's Francoeur, and he fouls it back. Breaking ball, Francoeur off the end of the bat. Hermida coming in, dives and makes a terrific catch. Nice play by Jeremy. Braves get another and lead it 3-1. sausage races. The chorizo. Look at him go. And always a lot of, the combination of the brats and the beer make the sausage races even more exciting. once you get late innings and then they break the racing sausages out. I mean, money changes hands. There's a lot riding.
Yeah, you talk about Ryan Braun. He's heated up. He was 3 for 6 with a grand slam last night. 6 RBIs in their 15-3 win in Cincinnati.
Yeah, the Brewers are hot.
And you know who else had a 4 for 6 game for the Brewers, and he's hitting .340? Craig Counsell. Always brings a smile to Marlins fans' face when they hear the name Craig Counsell.
Paulino facing Jurgens. This is not a start that's familiar to Paulino, and that's a start against a right-hander. But Jurgens, who fell behind 3-0, splits the plate. It's 3-1.
Now all of Ronnie's hitting has been against lefties.
That's down low. And so Paulino is aboard. That's nice because it sets up Sanchez now, who's not a real good hitter, with a chance to bunt, though Jurgens is no picnic with all the movement he's got on his pitches.
But again, here's just a little thing getting started, and we'll see if Sanchez can drop the bunt down and advance the runner. But you saw last night, Graham Taylor had trouble doing that.
Gets it down, and it's a good one. Kochman.
Couldn't have been better. Beautifully done by Anibal Sanchez.
All right, now the young bats have to drive in this run.
Good angle, soft enough where the only play that Kochman had, and he's a good fielding first baseman. The only play he had was the out at first.
Bonifacio had a single back in the first, and it was a great duel because Jurgens, who has some giddy up on his fastball, was following the scouting report to the letter and feeding Bonifacio high fastballs, and he fouled them off. A 10-pitch at bat, and he singled the center. Ground ball right side. Paulino will wander over to third as Johnson throws out Bonifacio, and it's up to Maven now with 2 outs and a runner at third base. Family Sunday. Going to have to adjust the copy on this. The Dodgers are coming to town without Manny Ramirez at 110. Kids can get a Hanley Ramirez baseball glove courtesy of Qdoba Mexican Grill. Bring the family to the strike zone early for Family Sunday activities. 1-877 Marlins. Still plenty of talent on that Dodger team. And that is a team that is.
Well, they have some good young players. Ethier, Kemp, Loney.
Yes.
Russell Martin. And the guy who will benefit with all kinds of playing time now, one of our favorites, Juan Pierre.
In case you've just joined us, Major League Baseball has confirmed the Los Angeles Times report that Manny Ramirez has been suspended 50 games for testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug. Maven fouls it back. Significant in that it's the biggest name that has been suspended 50 games.
Because the whole A-Rod stuff's another story from another time.
Well, he's not been suspended.
Yeah.
Paulino's at third. Oh, man. An 0-2, and Maven watched it split the plate. Jurgens strikes out Maven. Paulino is left lonely at third.
answer is he was a former teammate of mine in Philadelphia.
Well, I don't think Bruce Sutter was a Philly, right?
No.
Okay. That eliminates him. Who was
he didn't have, Sutter didn't have, he was injured a lot with the Braves. And
Sanchez working here against Kelly Johnson with David Ross and Jordan Schaefer right behind in the fourth. Johnson singled in front of the Ross home run in the second. A chopper. Cantu steps on the bag. And a quick out here in the fourth.
Rich, I had an interesting conversation with somebody, and we were talking about the differences of Jorge Cantu as a third baseman, now as a first baseman. And we know he's played brilliantly at first base. And the question was, do you think that's helped his offense? Well, first of all, he had a good offensive year last year. But in a way, I think it has. He's a little more relaxed over there. He doesn't have to worry about throws. And I think he enjoys playing first base.
Well, I think he's a better first baseman than third baseman. And that defensive confidence can't help but spill over to your at-bats. Here's Ross, who took a breaking ball out to left field. Sanchez catches the corner. And it's 0-1. Two of the principals in the Josh Beckett Mike Lowell trade on display in this one. Hanley Ramirez homering to right. And of course Sanchez coming over in that trade as well. High pop on the infield. Sunglasses down. Hanley's there. And Hanley makes the catch.
Nice to hear Hanley taking charge. You had three infielders with the possibility to catch that ball. Bonifacio, Dan Ugla was coming in. So Hanley was taking charge. Sometimes you'd like to see the pitcher take a little charge in direct traffic, too.
Jordan Schaefer flied out in the second. We've talked and seen the struggles of Cameron Maben out in center field, and Schaefer's going through the exact same stuff right now. He's a 22-year-old. Line shot to left. Hermida circles, won't get this one. It falls for a base hit. But Schaefer punched out 4 times last night and 14 times in the last 5 games. So it's not just a Maben. There's a Jordan Schaefer here. There are guys in other big league cities that are trying to get their head above water, trying to figure out big league pitching.
And believe me, it's a process. And we see it all the time. Obviously, there's more focus on the Marlins players. There's more focus from Marlins fans because they're their players.
Anytime you have a team that is young, you're obviously going to have more of that. Veteran teams in baseball kind of immune to that. You look at the Phillies, they really haven't had a young player in their lineup for some time.
And
swing and a miss.
Yeah, and I think if you, and you can't always do this, and it doesn't hold true 100%, but if you bring up a young player and insert him in a lineup amongst a bunch of veteran hitters, he's going to be a little better off.
Here's the 1-1. We talked last night about the Kansas City Royals, and some of their young stars right now, the last couple of years, have had a huge learning curve as they got their feet wet and have all of a sudden started to blossom. The Alex Gordons, the Billy Butler, Mark Teahan. Fastball and a good one, and Sanchez blows that one by Jurgens. Hanley's coming up. It's 3-1 Braves. a good name. Glad you're spending your lunch hour with us. For those of you that have got to get back to work, just log on. We're on the internet as well, MLB.tv.
Or call in and continue to hang out.
Yeah, just say, hey, got an important appointment.
Hey, you got an appointment with Rich and Tommy.
And H. Ramirez is on the schedule. It will be Hanley Ramirez. And a follow-up meeting with Jorge Cantu about 1 o'clock. So here's Hanley against Jurgens. Low fastball. Hanley golfs it out to right. And Francoeur is there, and he makes the catch. Our Toyota trends. The Braves have surrendered now, just 16 home runs, fewest in the big leagues. And Hanley's first inning shot, the second off of Jurgens this year, and the 16th off the staff.
Well, you think about it, they have the sinker baller and Derek Lowe, veteran pitcher, the veteran Javier Vasquez, and Jurgens, the youngster who's been throwing great. And here the youngster, Jair Jurgens, led the Braves last year in wins, starts, innings pitched, and strikeouts.
I think the Braves may have set a record for most starting pitchers in a season last year with all the injuries they had. Tim Hudson, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz all hurt. They ran a lot of guys in and out of there. They had issues in their bullpen. And you add it all up, and the Braves had their worst record since 1990. That was the season before that 14 consecutive division title run. Derek Lowe, a big piece of the offseason puzzle. You know, the frustrating thing about last night for the Fish, they scored 6 runs off Derek Lowe.
Second time this year the Marlins have scored 6 and lost.
Cantu gets a 3-1 and fouls it off.
Yeah, I read a great name the other day. The win total for Jurgens last year, he won 13. It was the second most wins by a Braves rookie since 1983 when Craig McMurtry won 15 games for Atlanta.
That's right. We're still trying to figure out that Braves closer. Cantu. Foul tip into the glove of Ross. I think this was a little guy.
Yeah, we talked about this guy before. He had that kind of side-winding motion, turned his back to the plate a la Louis Tion.
Gene Garber.
And could give you more than just one inning.
Rita takes a changeup high. It's 1-0. Jeremy's 0 for 1. To the Braves, you know, you think about that streak of 14 consecutive titles. They didn't really have a lights-out closer. John Rocker was kind of the guy for a few seasons.
And at times he was lights out in maybe other ways.
But they obviously had the great rotation.
They didn't need the closer that often.
One of the great questions, I think, is why the Braves didn't win more than one world title in that span, getting to the postseason 14 consecutive times. They got to 5 World Series, and they won in '95, and that was it. But what an accomplishment for Bobby Cox.
Yeah, remember years past, you think of the Braves closers. Steve Bedrosian, Suter for a while. McMichael, Wohlers. Mark Wohlers probably the most known. Kerry Lightenberg.
Bob Wickman on that list?
Yeah, but in the 2000s. Yeah, Wiki's there.
Hermida walks, a 2-out walk. Now they bring Ugla to the plate. Firestone leaderboard. ERA leaders. Jurgens came in at 1.89. The year Santana is having is just unbelievable.
Yeah, Santana, with his 7 shutout innings last night against the Phillies, lowered his ERA to 0.91. It was a good ball game. Chan-Ho Park went 6 shutout innings, gave up just 1 hit to the Mets.
So Josh Johnson's 7th on that list. Ugla flied to center.
Let's see, JJ will be going the 2nd game in Denver. Saturday, he'll pitch against Jorge De La Rosa.
Rockies are home this afternoon, taking on the Giants. Ugla takes outside. Dodgers winners last night, 7 in a row now. They have won, and of course the record-setting start at home. They beat the Nationals last night handily. Dodgers 13-0 at home, 21-8 overall.
But that's not the major news coming out of LA today.
No, the Manny Ramirez suspension for 50 games is the major news. Ugla takes a rip. That's an expensive suspension because you don't get paid when you're suspended for performance-enhancing drugs. And Manny is making around $25 million this year. So 50 games is just about 2 months of the 6th-month time in which you get paid. That's what, about a $7 million hit.
Going to get into his pocket pretty good.
Ugla sends that one into right center, and it's Schaefer who runs it down and makes the catch. When we get back, Jim Presley will join us. We'll talk Marlins hitters next. Marlins, Jim Presley. Hi, Press.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing?
How are you?
We're doing good, Press. You know, usually we like to get to you when everybody's right on and hitting well, but there are a couple of struggling hitters, so we'll get into those during this inning.
Okay, all right.
All right, the Marlins right now down 3-1. Anibal Sanchez facing Omar Infante to lead off the 5th. Let's start with the top of the order. Emilio Bonifacio, fast start, some struggles, some progress over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, he's been a pleasant surprise for me. I didn't know he was that good a player. I know we saw him last year in Washington that last couple of months, but yeah, he's coming around. He's making some adjustments. Like you said, he was hitting 405 there for a couple of weeks, and we knew he wasn't going to do that. But past week or so, he's made some adjustments, 1-2, 2-2, and put the ball in play and hit some balls hard.
Yeah, we like that first at bat he had today. Fouled off a couple of high fastballs and then got the base hit.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him to realize when you get to 2 strikes, you got to, you got to zone it up, and you start swinging at that ball that's letter high, and you're going to swing and miss more, and you're going to make contact. So we're just trying to get him to get the ball down and put the ball in play and use his best skill, which is his legs. Cameron
Maybin had such a great September last year. What do you see right now that you saw? Well, what don't you see now that you saw in September of last year from Maybin? Well,
he got to where he was so spread out, and I saw him in spring training, and I guess last year he did quite a bit of it, but he was so spread out to where everything that he did swinging was uphill. He'd come out of it. So about 10 days ago when we were in Pittsburgh, we made a change. We stood him up. He started swinging the bat a lot better. I know he's hit some balls hard, and we're just trying to give him the best shot to pretty good play. To make that adjustment and get on top of the ball, which he wasn't doing that. So he's made some adjustments. It's a learning curve for those 2 guys. They're young. Cameron played in AA last year, and that's a big jump. I always say the biggest jump is from minor leagues to the big leagues, and they find out pretty quick.
Are his biggest hurdle right now more psychological than mechanical?
I think it is. I think mechanically we've kind of got him sound where he has a chance, and he feels good about it, and that's the main thing. Now he's just got to hit some balls hard. Like yesterday, he hit a line drive. Seemed like a couple of balls that he hits hard. If he could get a base hit there too and get his confidence back. But yeah, it's a learning process mentally, and I've always said in big leagues you got to know what you're trying to do from the neck up and keep a level head.
What do you see, Press? Obviously, he's just locked in Jorge Cantu from last year, and he had a solid year last year too.
Yeah, that was a big year for him. That's probably the best year he's had. And I don't know. He's locked in. He had the wrist. He got hit on the wrist, and that kind of bothered him for a couple of days, and it's still bothering him. But I think it has hampered him to the point to where he has to, kind of stay short and compact, not take big swings, try to juice the ball. And it's been his advantage, and he has been red hot this past week.
Impressed with Hanley Ramirez at bats coming off the injury. He has driven the ball to right field and hit it hard, including his home run today.
Yeah, he's staying through the ball a bit better, and the injury didn't help him. But the World Baseball Classic, I think, set him back. He missed those 2 or 3 weeks of spring training, and you gotta, I told him, I said, you got to get ready for April the 6th and get it going, and I think that he's starting to get it locked in now and feel a lot better.
Kind of a good and bad news with Dan Uggla. I mean, it hurts watching him because there are times he hits the ball hard, and he's been finding fielders, and then he has poor swings.
Yeah, like today he swung at 2 fastballs in, and he's getting himself out. But I tell you what, this kid's hitting a $196. It's the hardest 196 I've ever seen in my life, and I guarantee you, I forget where we were at. He hit about, it started in Washington. We were on the road. He hit about 6 or 7 balls that series right on the nose and had nothing to show for it. And it just kind of carried over. And, he's hit the ball hard. Like you said, it's just found the fielder. Stay in here.
To right, and it will stay in. Ross makes the catch.
And one follow-up, Press, on Uggs. How's his mental attitude toward it? How's he handling it?
It's getting to him a little bit, but I think he's handling it pretty good. He's been in this situation. He was hitting a $180 going into last year, May the 1st. So, I mean, he's been through it. He's kind of a notoriously slow starter, and he'll get it going. Like I said, it's not like he's punching out, every 3 times a ball game or something like that. He is hitting the ball hard, and with 2 strikes, he's made a little bit more of an adjustment. I tried to get him to do that at a spring training, 1-2, 2-2. He's done a better job at that. he's found the glove, and sometimes you go through that. He has hit the ball. Like I said, it's the hardest 196 I've ever seen somebody hit.
They used to say when he comes out of it, somebody's going to have to pay.
Yeah.
Jeremy Hermitas, his walks are up right now. Where do you see him compared to last year? Runners on the way and a drive in a left center field in the gap, and that's going to be costly. With Escobar moving around third, he will score easily. And the Braves have added to their lead. It's now 4-1. Casey Kochman has sprayed line drives all over the place, including one out of this place. And he has 3 hits, this an RBI double.
Well, he's a triple away from a cycle, single, double, and a home run. And this is just the perfect example of Kochman and the kind of swing he has all 3 of his at-bats today. And with Escobar on the move, it just made it easier for him to come in and score.
So it's Francoeur now with the runner in scoring position. A swing and a miss. Jeremy Hermida, press.
Well, the past few days, he felt like he's a guy that you have to tinker with everything that he does, and as far as off the tee, and he's got to get his work in before BP to get ready.
And press, not to interrupt, but obviously we both saw something's up with Sanchez, so we appreciate your time.
Okay.
And we will see you on the flight headed out on the road.
Okay, Rich. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Hope
Press.
this kid's okay.
Jim Presley, Marlins hitting coach. Anibal Sanchez with Mike Kozak and the Marlins training staff. Let's watch the delivery.
There's the pitch. And then a reaction there after the pitch. Hard to tell if it's arm related or leg related. There's the base hit by Kochman, but it was on that next pitch to Francoeur.
So Burke Badenhop is going to get as much time as he wants to warm up. Now that's not a good sign.
Looking up at that shoulder that's been repaired. Boy, that's not a good sign at all.
And so Sanchez is on his way to the clubhouse. We'll get you a report as soon as we can. Burke Badenhop comes into the ball game, and here is our Marooney called to the bullpen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
we'll break. We wanted to talk with Lizette Gonzalez to my right, Jeff Baradelli to my left, weather forecasters at CBS Sports Weather Day today. This is one of the fun days of the year for you guys to come out, and you bring a lot of fans out here too.
It is great. We get to hang out at the stadium. I'm playing hooky from work right now. It's not so bad. The kids get a day off of school, which is great. And we learn about weather. And the kids really were into it, and we are too. It's great.
What the kids, you did with rising and sinking air today?
We did. We used a tank of water. We filled it with water, and then we put blue food coloring in it. And then we took oil, and we mimicked oil mimicking hot air rising, and the difference between cold air sinking and hot air. Yeah. And so it was kind of cool. Yeah, the kids
travels better in warm weather.
Well, hopefully today it will travel very far for the Marlins. Yeah.
It's going the other way. Lizette, you did the weather balloon.
Yeah, which was really
Tommy
cool.
was saying it looked like Mr. Met, the mascot for the Mets.
Listen, we're just happy it went up because last year we had some issues, but basically it measures the temperature and the pressure and the wind, and I think the kids really were excited about that. And then, they release 2 weather balloons a day over 90 sites across the country, 900 worldwide. And I thought it was cool that we had people from the National Weather Service out here today as well. Yeah.
Where will that balloon, any idea?
It can travel as far as 125 miles, and it can soar up to 100,000 feet, 20 miles up into the atmosphere. And once it bursts open, a little parachute opens up, and then the instrument box, the radio sound drops down. And then if you find it, you get $1.25. So there you go. For anyone who's listening,
So Tommy and Palm Beach
to the National Weather Service, and bam, you can cash it in for some bucks,
That's not bad. It's like recycling cans, the new way to do it. All right, Lizette, thanks for your time.
No, thank you.
Good to see you guys. All right, so be on the lookout, guys. You never know. Buck
That's
and a quarter.
right. Good stuff.
Back to you.
4-1 ball game. Braves on top, and Burke Badenhop is in, and nicely finishes off Jeff Francoeur. So the Hopper gets the strikeout. The Braves get a run, and it's a 3-run Atlanta lead.
Profundo que se fue el número 4 de Hanley Ramírez, y un poco doloroso el hecho de que hubiese sido de 2 carreras al sacar out ahí en segunda base a Bonifacio, pero sin embargo 1-0 Marlins.
And número 4 from Hanley Ramirez is 4th on the season. Push the sap button. Hi guys. Cookie and Raúl
Una gran tarde aquí con una gran cantidad de jóvenes aquí presenciando este partido a invitación de los Marlins, y yo creo que eso es magnífico, creando.
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Hey fellas, how's it going?
Good.
Hi, Richie.
Hi guys.
Beautiful day out here, huh?
Yeah, we're not happy with the news of Sanchi, though. We hope he's okay, but not good to see him come out of the game.
Oh, absolutely. I think that after what he had gone through in the past, and then all of a sudden got back to the big leagues, and all of a sudden to get hurt, I think is not a good sign for us.
And meanwhile, the Marlins are in against a good young arm in Jair Jurgens.
He's doing a great job against us. No question that he has a pretty good fastball, a good cut slider, and change speed well. He's got pretty good control, so dominating out offense, which it has to wake up somewhere along the line.
All right, guys, have a good show.
Have a safe trip too, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Cody Ross just found that back into the mask of David Ross.
Remember the other night we saw John Baker give a little time to Chuck Merriweather and allow him to recover. This time the home plate umpire, Laz Diaz, knowing that Ross took one off the mask, goes out to the mound. They have to give him a little time.
This was Merriweather getting hit.
Yeah, Baker. Bake goes back, tried to make sure Chuck didn't go down. So kind of an interesting bond behind the plate between umpire and catcher.
They're kind of both in the foxhole at the same time. Ross courts it out towards second. And Johnson throws him out. Meanwhile, Jurgens really hasn't been dominating. He's got just 2 strikeouts. He's walked a couple.
But he hasn't given up a hit since the Hanley Ramirez home run in the first inning.
He's been efficient. 63 pitches for the right-hander, the Dutch right-hander, out of the Dutch Antilles Islands, Curacao. A couple of his countrymen, guys from Curacao as well in professional baseball, and Chiron Martis of the Nationals, and Charlon Scope, a guy that I got a chance to see in the World Baseball Classic. He's a shortstop in the Giants organization. I think he's in Double-A this year for the Giants. Neither Jurgens nor Martis played on that Netherlands team that had such the run in the World Baseball Classic, got here to Dolphin Stadium. They did it with Sidney Ponson as their ace. That one pops to the first baseman, Kochman. So there's 2 outs. You want to be here for Super Saturday on the 16th, featuring a post-game freestyle flashback concert with Stevie B and TKA following a fireworks spectacular. See the Marlins against the Dodgers at 6:10. And you can get a Marlins pom-pom courtesy of New Era Cap, 1-877 Marlins, the number to call. Here's Badenhop getting the at-bat. And the hopper takes ball 1. Sidney Ponson from Aruba. Jurgens from Curacao, all in those islands, and he's the first from Curacao to get to the big leagues.
Yeah, Aruba, what a beautiful, beautiful island.
One and two outs, bottom of the 5th. And Jurgens carves up Badenhop. 3 punch outs now, and the Braves are up 4-1. How about the catch by Jeremy Hermida in left field? Full out dive. Our Land Rover extraordinary play of the day.
Doing a little roving in left field was Jeremy Hermida.
Well, the Marlins and the Braves, it's a 2-game series, a brief one. The Braves getting game 1 last night by a score of 8-6. And the Braves are on top here 4-1. And so Burke Badenhop, who's in this ball game, replacing Anibal Sanchez, who left with an injury, will start the 6th. He gets Kelly Johnson, David Ross, and Jordan Schaefer.
You know, right now with this homestand, there are a lot of things that aren't working for the Marlins. Starting pitching, the bullpen's been pretty good. Bullpen had shutout innings last night, did a terrific job. And the offense has gotten very quiet.
Johnson breaks his bat. It's over the middle. Hanley on a couple of hops. Got him at first. Nice scoop by Cantu, and everybody escaped the shards of bat that ended up scattered on the infield.
Yeah, this is a nice play. The ball just gets by Burke Badenhop. Hanley, I don't think had a good grip on that throw, but got a wonderful pick by Jorge Cantu at first base. Throw kind of sunk on him. He didn't really have the best of grips because he had to get rid of it quickly. Because Kelly Johnson gets up that line in a hurry.
It's an art that Cantu is still perfecting, that scoop. It's a very different scoop than, say, you're a third baseman with the ball that's hit at your feet, because you've got obviously a bigger glove and you're backhanding the ball, and at the same time you're trying to stretch out and get as far from the base as you can. David Ross homered in the 2nd, a 2-run shot, and he's popped out.
Talking about the Marlins bullpen last night, the Marlins bullpen 6 2/3 shutout innings. So Dan Meyer, Raniel Pinto, a couple of innings by Leo Nunez, Matt Lindstrom.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Badenhop misses inside. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Yeah, thank you very much, Rich. They just told us right shoulder discomfort, the reason that Anibal Sanchez left the ball game here. Right shoulder discomfort. Now, he did have Tommy John, but that was well back when he was a Red Sox, missing 2003. And, of course, he had the labrum injury here and the surgery. But right shoulder discomfort, not good news. We'll hope to get more for you before we end, or certainly when we see you in Colorado tomorrow night.
David Ross with a base hit to left. And that's obviously unfortunate, the shoulder that he had the surgery on. And, you know, when watching Sanchez this year, we talked about, Tommy, there were some stretches where, man, you saw the old Sanchez, but there were other stretches where he just didn't look comfortable.
I actually thought he threw the ball pretty well today until he had to leave the mound. I guess when you look back at things, obviously hindsight's very easy to do so. The Marlins didn't have, and over the past few years they've had this, but they didn't have that veteran pitcher, maybe that number 5 guy or the swing guy out of the bullpen, a la Brian Moeller. You look at a Livan Hernandez and him pitching for the Mets now, but they didn't have that veteran guy that they could go to in a case of an emergency like this.
You know, that swing guy is, and I don't think it's just the Marlins. I think that swing guy is kind of disappearing from a lot of rosters because of the way bullpens are used these days and the way they're constructed with matchups. You know what I mean?
You have too many guys that can only give you 1 inning.
Right.
And I think that's
foul ball.
That's why you see value in a guy like Burke Badenhop. And in talking with Freddie, I know we mentioned it a little bit last night when Dan Meyer came in and gave Freddie 3 good innings. We're talking about the possibility of Meyer maybe sliding into the slot of Graham Taylor, but with the off day, Freddie can go without a number 5 guy. So it's going to keep Meyer in the bullpen, but now you know you have a couple of guys in Meyer and Badenhop who can give you more than just 1 inning.
Jordan Schaefer at the plate for the Braves. Back to the mound. Badenhop fires right on the mark, and Hanley turns the double play. Nicely done. 1, 6, 3. The hopper works through the 6. Marlins need a comeback. They're down 4-1. Bonifacio stealing the ball, clearly pops out of the glove of Kelly Johnson. But watch, the umpire says, oh no, that came out on the transfer, which obviously wasn't correct, and it cost the Marlins. The Frostbrewed Coors Light freeze can. Hanley Ramirez would homer 2 batters later, and so obviously it's hard to reconstruct inning and say this had happened, this might have happened, or whatever, but the Marlins would have had a runner at second with nobody out in that inning. Instead, Bonifacio was thrown out. Hanley's homer was a solo shot, and it's the only run for the Fish on a day where they've lost Anibal Sanchez, and they're in deep against one of the fine young arms in the National League, Jair Jurgens. It's top of the order, Bonifacio, Maben, and Hanley in the 6th. Jurgens' ERA started the day at 1.89. It's actually gone down to 1.88.
Well, last year in his fine rookie season, he ranked #1 amongst rookies who qualified for the earned run average title. His ERA 3.68.
Bonifacio trying to get on base. That caught stealing in the first came after a single, and he has bounced out. Corners are in. Braves, a ball club that have struggled to score runs this year. Though last night they jumped on the Marlins for 8, 4 of them unearned. And today the Braves have home runs from a couple of unlikely sources. David Ross was catching because Brian McCann is still on the disabled list, and Casey Kochman will hit his first home run of the season.
Yeah, we talked about Kochman, really a guy who's never hit 15 in a season. He's more of a line drive gap type hitter. And as you mentioned, his first one this year.
2-2. Wow. Bonifacio may have gotten a break. Jurgens backed that pitch up nicely and was hoping to catch the inside corner. That's a strike.
Yeah, a lot of guys flinching there, and Bonifacio did get a huge break.
So anything close here, 3-2, you might want to make contact with. Just about the same spot, and he lines it into right. Francoeur had him played perfect.
Yeah, he did. You don't play Bonifacio to pull, so Francoeur was well over into right center. If he's playing straight away, that ball finds that right center field gap, and Bonifacio runs for days. But that's what scouting reports are all about.
Now Maben popped out in the first, called out on strikes with a runner at third base to finish off the 3rd inning.
Yeah, right now Jurgens has it all going. He has the breaking ball, the changeup, the fastball. He's moved inside and outside, and he has a lead.
Maben on the ground. Johnson. So Jurgens keeps rolling along. The last hit he gave up was the one that Hanley put in the seats back in the first. Hanley lined to right in the 4th inning. So 4 home runs for Ramirez, 14 driven in. Marlins off to Coors Field for 3, and then Miller Park for 3. The malted beverage tour with plenty of brats in Milwaukee when we get there.
Happy hour at every game. Yeah, Bratz in Milwaukee, and Rich, I've been told that at Coors Field down the right field line, there's a terrific burrito stand. We get a great burrito. I've been told.
I'm stunned to learn that you haven't been there before. It's taken you this long. I know you've scoped out the one in Arizona.
One in Arizona is a little closer. It's easier to get to.
Jurgens out front 0-2. And this changeup misses down low. Braves rotation has taken certainly a different look this year than going back in the last 15 years, 20 years. We saw Greg Maddux the other day in Chicago. They retired his number. Smoltz is trying to battle back. Glavine trying to come back with his injury.
I know when we were in Atlanta, Glavine had a little bit of a setback, and if things didn't change too much, I think he was seriously contemplating retirement.
Smoltz trying to come back with the Red Sox. I still think it would be nice if those three could go into the Hall of Fame at the same time. That would be quite a weekend in Cooperstown.
That's some new things taking place at the Hall of Fame. We ran into Hall of Fame president Jeff Idelson in Chicago, and Memorial Day there's a Latina. They're going to have Orlando Cepeda, Juan Marichal. I thought Tony Perez. Tony said he couldn't make it. They're going to have a display of Latin baseball. A new display up at Cooperstown.
You know, and last night, in case you didn't watch the show, Ken Burns came by, and he is working on the 10th inning, the addendum to the Great Baseball documentary. And in that, it will be the rise of the Latin player will be looked at. They went to the Dominican Republic, apparently, in their shooting, and so I would suspect Hanley Ramirez might have a bit part in that. Hanley hammers that pitch left field and out of here. Wow, a rocket. That thing just kept rising and rising. It looked like the weather balloon the kids let loose.
Hanley is the Marlins offense today. And you know the interesting thing, that was questionable whether it was going to be high enough. I mean, he hit it hard. But Hanley didn't look. He hits it hard, and he's not sure if it's going to be high enough, and he took off running, and then it just cleared the American League scoreboard. Boy, this is a rocket. There he goes hard. Now he sees that he's got the chance to slow down and enjoy home run number 5 on the year.
Jair Jurgens had allowed just 1 home run in 6 starts in 33 innings, and Hanley has hit 2 in this ball game. Braves have some guys that are tough to hit home runs against. Derek Lowe has always been a tough guy to lift the ball against, and of course Cantu hit a 3-run shot against him. He had allowed just 1 all year. The Braves now as a staff have allowed 17. That's still lowest in baseball. Cantu off the end of the bats. Anderson over, and he makes a basket catch. He dropped a couple of those in Atlanta. Hanley drops the bat and heads home. and provide them with an unforgettable experience at a Marlins game. 305-626-SAVE, and you can ask about upcoming special events in May. Youth Baseball and Softball Day, Teacher Appreciation Night, and Scout Sleepover Night. Marlins Baseball. Burke Badenhop into his second inning in relief. And Pinto in the pen. Pinto was one of 4 relievers who worked in last night's game.
Yeah, the hopper picked up the wind the other night, making pitches just like that. That 3-2 win in 14 innings by giving Freddie Gonzalez 3 innings. Gave up just 1 hit, no run.
Hopper on Monday night.
Boy, that was a pick-me-up because Freddie Gonzalez was running out of players. So was Dusty Baker, for that matter. It was good to see him with a good slider, good sinker, and a solid 3 innings. And he's pitching well today, too.
One-0 pitch misses down low to Braves leadoff man Omar Infante. The Marlins have kept him off base in this one. Two and one. Badenhop has that great comeback fastball with a good tailing movement that can bring it back on the outside part of the plate like that.
Yeah, and he's got a little funk in the delivery, just a little bit, that will make it tough for hitters to pick up.
Soft line drive into right field. So Infante is aboard. We check in with Craig Minervini.
Thank you, Rich. We're talking to Freddie Gonzalez today, and he was talking about the question of surprises so far in baseball. And he said, you know, one for us is we haven't really hit as well or pitched as well as I would have liked. And yet, when you look at our spot in the standings, the other surprising thing is nobody's run away with it in the National League East. When you look around baseball and you see the NL East compared to the other divisions, the central leader, St. Louis, 8 over. LA is 13 over. Toronto is 10 over. Kansas City is 6 over. But in the East, everybody's pretty tightly packed in. Nobody's really made a big move yet. The Marlins had their surge early. But right now, it's the Phillies leading the pace by just a half game. We're winning 3 games over 500. So we'll see how it all shakes. The question is everybody pretty much the same in the East? And if so, with all the games you play against, maybe it's one of those years where the high 80s can win a division. We'll see.
Yeah, long way to go. And a lot of things will unfold before then. It'll be interesting to see as the Marlins head out and start playing more teams out in the West and in the Central.
Yeah, it's frustrating because since that 11-1 start, the ball club's 4-12. And I thought it was interesting reading a note on the Dodgers today. The Dodgers off to that 21-8 start. The Dodgers this year, I believe collectively, the teams they've played have all been under 500 with a record of 32-66. So yes, they're off to a good start. But as people were pointing at the Marlins playing the Nationals early on, the Dodgers have gotten a little break themselves. And the National League West is not a strong division.
Giants are at 500. Arizona's 4 under. Padres, after that great start, are 4 under. And the Rockies, with their win last night, they pulled a 4 under. Of course, the Marlins, who are in the stretch right now, 22 of 29 on the road, and they're headed out to the West to take on Colorado, and then Central to take on Milwaukee. The Dodgers will be here when the Marlins return on the 15th, opening up that weekend series. And then the Diamondbacks for 4. Then the Marlins get a taste of interleague play. And interleague play for the Marlins is no picnic this year.
Toughest they've had in a while.
6 games against the American League champs, the Tampa Bay Rays. On the road against the Blue Jays. They lead that division. They're 10 over. On the road against the Red Sox. They're second in the East. And home for the Yankees and the Orioles.
You know, Toronto lost pitching. A.J. Burnett signing with the Yankees. They continue to get great starts out of Roy Halladay all the time, but offensively is where they've picked things up. Scott Rowland's having a solid year. Adam Lind, who DHs for them a lot. And the Toronto Blue Jays led by Cito Gaston, their manager of the World Championship days in 92 and 93.
You talked about the article a few days ago of veteran managers. I believe it was in the Chicago Tribune. And they were talking about Piniella and La Russa, and Cito Gaston was the focus in that article as well.
And a lot of credit's been given to Cito's hitting coach, who he had with him back in the 90s, Gene Tennis, who he brought back.
You know, another guy that not a lot of people know about is Aaron Hill. He's got 7 home runs already. The second baseman for the Blue Jays. Driven in 27, scored 24, hitting 366.
So yeah, you throw in the Blue Jays along with the Red Sox, Yankees, and Rays, and you know the Orioles are going to give you tough games.
Maybe the Blue Jays are this year's Rays. Escobar and Badenhop with Freddie on his way out. Probably the last hitter for Badenhop.
Oh, nice pitch.
Hopper's almost one of those guys, Tommy, where the more he works, the better he gets. Maybe the more sink he gets on that fastball.
And I think better out of the bullpen than when he starts again.
Great out of the bullpen the last 2 times out. Here comes Pinto. And here is our Marooney called to the bullpen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
Fastball strike 1. Pinto out of the bullpen, taking over for Burt Badenhop. Pinto's numbers good. 1.42 ERA. This is his 16th appearance.
Well, remember last year, and this is where Rainiel Pinto has to just continue on each month and stay steady. He had a terrific first half of the season. but then an ERA over 10 the second half.
Anderson still trying to get back into the swing of things. Off the DL yesterday with a quad injury. Came back with 3 RBIs and 1 hit. Marlins down 4-2. A pair of Hanley Ramirez homers for the Fish. Casey Kochman has driven in 2 for the Braves. A homer and a double. David Ross with a 2-run homer. Anderson jumps on that high fastball.
Well, he's done that a few times in his career. Garrett Anderson 5 times a 300 hitter. 14 straight seasons. You talk about a track record of consistency. 14 straight seasons. He's hit 280 or better.
Part of that Angel World Championship in 2002. Swing and a miss. Pinto strikes out Garrett Anderson. So the bullpen's been good. The Marlins need some runs. They're down 4-2.
Boy, it sure did. Hanley's had a nice day. 1 home run to right field, and this rocket just over the American League scoreboard. He's got 2 today. That's been the Marlins offense. How about David Ross of the Atlanta Braves? Their catcher gets them on the board. Casey Kochman with a line drive home run down the right field line, his first of the year. And then on that pitch, something was felt in that shoulder of Anibal Sanchez. Not happy, frustrated, and certainly so, and that's the score. The Braves with that 4-2 lead. Hanley's been all the offense.
And the Braves have Jair Jurgens at 91 pitches in the bottom of the 7th. Hermida leading it off with Uggla and Ross to follow. Jeremy scorches one to right. Francoeur, his buddy from the Atlanta area, is there to make the catch. So up comes Uggla. Jurgens is looking for win number 3. It's hard to believe he's 2-2 as well as he's pitched this year with an ERA of under 2. But I think it underscores the inability for the Braves to score runs this year.
Well, in his last 4 starts alone, 0-2 with an ERA of 1.61.
Uggla pulls that one deep and foul. Uggla in this ball game has flied out twice. Braves bullpen. Moylan and O'Flaherty. The Braves bullpen was very good last night. Buddy Carlisle, Moylan, and then the back end, you get Soriano in the 8th and Gonzalez in the 9th. It's a package deal, and they were outstanding. Marlins got all of their runs against Derek Lowe. It's not often that you see a game in which you get 8 runs off of one starter and 6 runs off the other starter, and that's all the runs for the entire game. Both bullpens. The Braves went 4 scoreless innings, and the Marlins had to cobble together a few more innings because Taylor didn't get past the 3rd. One and 2. Uggla's out in front, and down he goes, striking out for the first time today.
Pretty good numbers for Jurgens as far as that pitch count. He's yet to reach 100. He's getting close.
Ross is 0 for 2.
He's been in the strike zone most of the day. Just a couple of walks for Jurgens.
Right in the wheelhouse, and Ross pulls it foul. Cody last night was 1 for 3. Braves just opening up a long road trip, which will take them to Philadelphia for 3 and to New York to see the Mets for 3. The Marlins headed to Colorado and Milwaukee. Change up, and it's 1 and 2.
He's moved the ball around really well with the fastball and the changeup. As they say, he's pitching beyond his years. Just 23 years old.
There's 2 ways to get good young starting pitching. One is to draft them and develop them. The other is to make a good trade and acquire them. And that's exactly what the Braves did in sending Edgar Renteria to Detroit. Oh, Jurgens thought he had a strikeout.
He's had a couple of disagreements with Laz Diaz. Now Laz is hearing it from Bobby Cox in the Braves dugout. You saw him look over there.
Three-two coming. Chopper to third. Infante throws out Ross. A 1-2-3 7th. Jair Jurgens right now beating the Fish 4-2. Brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Marlin hold leaders, Calero, Meyer, and Nunez with Miller and Penn. Each with a hold apiece. Just as middle relievers keep their team in the game, you two can stay in the game with Just for Men Hair Color. Marlins have been unable to get this guy out. Casey Kochman takes outside. Kochman, one of the pieces the Braves got back when they sent Mark Teixeira out to the Angels. And they figured he could play first base, might be able to add some pop. And as Tommy pointed out, he's a line drive type hitter. And last year, he hit 13 home runs combined between Atlanta and Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Angels. In 143 games, 13 home runs. His first of the year was today. He doesn't strike out much, he only punched out but 39 times all of last year.
Yeah, 39 strikeouts and 36 walks.
And down he goes. Pinto dispatches Kochman.
Now Pinto's come in and faced two men, two tough left-handers, Garrett Anderson and Casey Kochman, and struck them both out. Kochman, a triple away from the cycle, might not get another chance. You know the last Brave to hit for the cycle?
Last Brave to hit for the cycle.
Mark Kotze, former Marlin.
Francoeur is going to extend his hitting streak with that looper into right. 8 straight now. For the man they call Frenchie. Actually, the guy that called him Frenchie first is in a Marlin uniform, and that's Freddie Gonzalez. When Francoeur showed up as a youngster and Gonzalez was on Bobby Cox's staff, he took one look at the spelling of Francoeur's name and said, "You're Frenchie."
Yeah, let's just call him Frenchie.
And everybody liked the nickname, and it stuck. There's Soriano. He handled the 8th inning last night. Kelly Johnson.
Tell you a player years ago who had that same nickname because of his last name.
Yeah, I know.
Jim Lefebvre.
Yeah. Was listening to his son Ryan the other night, who's the television play-by-play announcer for those Kansas City Royals.
And Ryan Lefebvre having fun, I'm sure. We should call Ryan or email him or text him and give him some Jake stories. Mike Jacobs.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Saw Kiko Calero in the bullpen. Kelly Johnson is a bit of a puzzle for the Braves. Johnson last year hit 287. Solid year. In fact, after the All-Star break, he was over 300. But a slow start this year. Johnson's 27. Was a first-round pick, actually a sandwich pick, which comes between the first and the second round compensation picks back in 2000. And never been a guy that's been overmatched against lefties. Been able to hit both righties and lefties.
Hey, this year much better against lefties than righties. Over 300 against lefties.
But without that big bopper in the lineup, and the Braves in this game in particular are without Brian McCann, who is still on the disabled list, and Chipper Jones is getting the day off. Paulino throws behind the runner, and getting picked off is Francoeur. Cantil, he ran out of the baseline, and he's out. I'm not sure what Francoeur was thinking.
I think he thought it was ball 4.
He must have lost track of the count.
Yeah, I think he thought it was ball 4.
Paulino nearly airmailed that throw into right field.
Good play by Hanley to recover the throw and then get it back to Cantu. So it's a caught stealing 2-3-6. 2-3-6-3 back to Jorge, and out of the baseline is Francoeur.
So now count's full, and Johnson pulls one wide of first.
So Frenchie forgot the outs, the count and the outs.
Johnson rips it into right. Ross picks it up, and Kelly Johnson has his second hit of the ball game. David Ross is coming up.
Number 8, David Ross.
And Freddie Gonzalez, Marlins manager, is out with his lineup card with him. That means pitching change and a double switch coming up. So the Marlins are going to go to their bullpen. Calero is on his way in. 4-2, Braves on top. Here's our Marooney called to the bullpen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
And Kiko Calero, with his tremendous numbers, comes in the game. And we've seen guys like Calero, Reniel Pinto, Dan Meyer, Burke Badenhop. They have been just outstanding out of the bullpen. And Kiko Calero leads the major leagues in appearances. This is his 17th game.
David Ross at the plate. Ross has a couple hits, including a 2-run homer. And Calero fires a strike. Braves hopeful to get McCann back this weekend in Philadelphia. McCann's such a rock in the middle of that order, a 3-time All-Star. And that left-handed pop.
And I think it makes a difference, too, when McCann's in the lineup for Chipper Jones, too.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Paulino's throw is way off the mark. And Kelly Johnson has a stolen base.
We talked about the Braves, not a running club. That's only their 6th stolen base this year. Kelly Johnson is one, though, who can run, but that's his first of the year.
So it's 0-2 on Ross. And Calero steps off. Marlins bullpen with an ERA better than their starters. Marlins pen 4.11 coming in, and that's gone down. No swing, says Chuck Merriweather. That's gone down in this ball game. That's close.
That's close. I would say 75% of the time you see that called, though.
It's the ironic thing about the funk that the Marlins are in right now. It's the starting pitching, which was to be a strength of this club, has faltered. Good pitch. Calero gets Ross. Going to the bottom of the 8th in South Florida in the sun. Braves up 4-2. Health issue. He gave me a medication, not a steroid, which he thought was okay to give me. Unfortunately, the medication was banned under our drug policy. Under the policy, that mistake is now my responsibility. I have been advised not to say anything more for now. I do want to say one other thing. I've taken and passed about 15 drug tests over the past 5 seasons. Want to apologize to Mr. McCourt, Mrs. McCourt, Mr. Torrey, my teammates in the Dodger organization. I am so sorry about this whole situation. It's going to cost Manny about $7 million in salary, and he will miss 50 games for the Dodgers. July 3rd is the date that he is eligible to return. So, under the order of business here, this is the back end of the Braves bullpen, and the back end was pretty good last night. With Soriano and Gonzalez working an uneventful 8th and 9th in that order. John Baker leads it off, and Baker takes a fastball high.
They have Bake pinch hitting for Ronnie Paulino, and then Ross Glode, who came into the game in that number 9 spot, he'll hit next.
Bonifacio up 3rd in this inning. Baker, maybe the most patient Marlin at the plate, works the count to 2-0. Baker getting the day off, day game after a night game.
Boy, it's been the middle part of the Braves lineup that's done the damage today. The Atlanta 4 through 7 hitters, 8 for 16. A couple of home runs, 4 RBIs.
Last night, it was the top and the bottom of the order that was a handful. In Infante, Escobar, and Chipper doing a lot of the damage. And the Marlins couldn't keep Derek Lowe from scoring runs last night. He was on base and scored twice. 3-1 coming. Bake fouls it back. Jair Jurgens, 7 outstanding innings. And the 2 blemishes were both line drive home runs. One to right and one to left by Hanley Ramirez. (3-2). Baker lines it to center. Schaefer out there. 1 out in the 8th. He hit it well.
Yeah, he did. Tough luck. You're just noticing Soriano, a lot of relievers, I would say 95% that come into the game, they'll come in even with nobody on base and work from the stretch. Soriano works out of the windup when he comes into a game.
Here's Ross Glode. Was there a certain reliever in baseball history that started that trend?
Well, I think it was different in years past. You brought more guys in the middle of an inning when there were guys on base, so you had to work from the stretch. Now everybody's so they're in their roles where they have to start an inning, and I think maybe they just work from the stretch just because they figure if somebody gets on base, it's easier. But I think years ago you saw more guys come into games in the middle of innings with men on base.
One and 1 to Ross Glode. Glode has been a good pinch hitter for the Marlins. 4 for 11 as a pinch hitter. He's driven in 3. Glode from this side of the plate. Wes Helms from the other side of the plate. Helms is 5 for 10. Breaking ball lined into right field. That's a base hit. Frank Coor picks it up. And Glode has another pinch hit. And now for the Marlins, they need these 2 young bats to do something here. Bonifacio and Maben coming up.
Well, it's a nice swing. You get 2 strikes. Ross Glode knows he just needs to make contact. Here comes the slider down and in. He goes right after it, stays on it. Shortens up the swing to get to that pitch. And you're right, you want to see Hanley hit in this inning.
Bonifacio is at the plate, and Wes Helms has actually emerged on deck. Bonifacio takes a fastball up, and it's 1-0. A 1-for-3 game. Marlins last night, in a frustrating loss, had opportunities throughout the game to score, opportunities late, ran themselves out of an inning, never could get that big hit after they drew within 8-6. They drew within 8-6 in the 5th, and then the Braves bullpen shut them down from that point on. Bonifacio pops up a bunt attempt. 1-2.
The key, Rich, was that 6th inning, 1st and 3rd off Buddy Carlisle. 1st and 3rd, nobody out, and couldn't get a run in.
Lindstrom getting ready, but Soriano's out in front 1-2. Broken bat. Escobar, they get 1, and that's it. With Bonifacio's speed, he is safely across first.
And that's how you approach it as an infielder. You know you have no chance to get a double play. And that's what Escobar did. Just casually made sure he caught the ground ball, got the force at second because the out is important, and he knew there was no chance to double up Bonifacio.
Helms last night had a pinch hitting appearance, and it was against Soriano. And Soriano struck him out.
Well, West probably went to school on that at bat.
Marlins are down 2 in the bottom of the 8th. A chance that Bonifacio might run.
I think so. Maybe not early in the count because his run isn't that important.
Soriano does not have a quick motion to the plate. Remember Bonifacio back in the first. How big is that play now? Was called out on a play where the ball clearly popped out of Kelly Johnson's glove.
Yeah, it'd be a one-run game now.
Hanley Ramirez followed with a home run. Marlins have just the 2 Hanley homers on the board today. It's up and in. That's 2-1. Soriano challenging Helms with fastballs. Live arm came from Seattle. Had problems staying healthy up in Seattle, and that's kind of trailed him a bit in Atlanta. Soriano has been on the disabled list 7 times in his career. He had elbow surgery in August of last year. It wasn't major surgery. Nothing reconstructive, but surgery nonetheless.
Yeah, a lot of fastballs, good fastballs and sliders. That last fastball, 93.
Appeared in just 14 games for the Braves last year. Helms fouls it back. I guess if Bonifacio were going to run, he would have been running on those last 2 pitches. Two and 2, 2 outs. Ramirez is on deck. And Helms keeps fighting off 93-mile-an-hour fastballs. Be interesting to see what kind of reception Helms gets when the Marlins arrive in Milwaukee early next week. 2-2 coming. Remember, it was Helms on that last Sunday of last season who hit the pinch hit home run at Shea Stadium to put the Marlins up 3-2 over the Mets. And of course, the Brewers were playing that day. The Brewers had to win, and they did. Ugla followed with a home run. The Marlins beat the Mets. The Brewers won, and that put the Brewers in the postseason.
Well, I think a pregame ceremony at least. With chorizo.
2-2.
Boy, fastball after fastball, foul ball after foul ball. Soriano keeps going up in the strike zone with his heat.
Remember last year, Helms was talking about one of the keys as a pinch hitter is not being afraid to get beat by the fastball.
And right now with 2 strikes, he's just trying to hang in there and make contact and see if Soriano makes a mistake.
The Australian Peter Moylan. Oh, Soriano thought he had a strikeout.
Yeah, he went with the slider and thought he had made a good pitch. It's got the plate. and that's probably high. It's a pitch that most umpires will call high, but it looked like a pretty good one.
So if he didn't get the strike and finally threw the slider, what are the odds that
he's not going to throw a slider?
Right.
He's going to come back with that heat again.
So let's see if Helms is sitting on it. Full count, runner moving. Here's the pitch.
And he did, but he stayed upstairs. Yeah.
94 miles an hour.
This is the 11th pitch coming to Wes Helms during this at bat.
He has extended, the Marlins have extended Soriano to 24 pitches. Let's see what he gets. 3-2 again. Lost him. Great at bat. Wes Helms on his way to first, and the Marlins get what they wanted. They get Hanley to the plate. Our Jaguar performer of the game is Hanley Ramirez. This shot to right in the first, this shot to left in the sixth. Check out the new R Performance vehicles at your local Jaguar dealer. Or on JaguarUSA.com.
Hanley did not see Soriano last night, but he's 1 for 5 in his career against the right-hander. And this is what you wanted when the inning started. You look at the lineup and you say, okay, let's try to at least get Hanley to bat in this inning, because if he does, that'll mean there'll be some men on base.
Ramirez hit on the wrist by John Maine at the start of the last road trip and out of the lineup for about 5 days. When he came back, very apparent that Hanley, in a concerted effort, was just driving the ball hard to right field and right center. Brett Carroll's going to pinch run for Wes Helms here at first base. And that showed up certainly in the home run in the first. Then he turned on one in the sixth. So good speed out there with Bonifacio at second, and now Carroll at first. And Hanley awaits Soriano's first pitch. And then he went after a fastball, a high one.
Yeah, but that just tells you he was looking for that first pitch fastball. He was on it. It was up a little bit, but he was on it and fouled it straight back. When a hitter fouls one straight back, that usually means he's right on the pitch.
That's a strike, and Soriano's out in front 0-2. He has stayed up with that fastball.
Now Hanley's thinking has to change a little bit with 2 strikes.
Time called. Hanley reshuffles in the box. No. Soriano was leaving the mound. He's done that a couple of times to Laz Diaz. Hanley checked his swing. Here's a look.
Fastball away. Does it get the plate? I think part of the reason that it's not a strike is that, first of all, it didn't get the plate, but that's where Ross was set up. He was set up off the plate. It hit the target, but he was set up off the plate.
Bonifacio out at second. Brett Carroll's at first. 1-2 coming. Struck him out. Soriano goes 29 pitches in the 8th inning, and the last one he threw by Hanley Ramirez. Jordan Schaefer leads it off. Pitcher spot. And then Omar Infante. Schaefer drops down a bunt. Baker, fresh in the game, throws it into right field. Schaefer takes a left turn on his way to second. And the error will go to Baker. It will be a base hit for Schaefer.
Tough play when you've just come in the game, but Bake got there, got his body turned, and just threw it wide of first base. Knowing that he had to get rid of it quickly, Schaefer has good speed, picked up the ball right away, and on the error, got to second base.
Here is Greg Norton.
Norton, a veteran hitter, sure his thinking right now is to try to get something he can pull to the right side.
Calero misses down low. Mike Gonzalez, Braves closer. Norton in the 9 spot, then it's Infante and Escobar with Schaefer in scoring position. And there's that veteran at bat by Norton. He'll move Schaefer up 90 feet by pulling the ground ball. Our checkers double play.
This was a nice play by Burke Badenhut. Back in the 6th inning, got that chopper from Schaefer and just turned, made a perfect throw to second. Checkers double play, always nice.
Kiko Calero now is faced with Omar Infante, a drawn-in infield, and Schaefer 90 feet away.
Just thinking, a checkers double play is always nice. A checkers double cheese isn't bad either.
At this time of day. So the infield's in. Infante's 1 for 4. He's got 3 hits in this mini 2-game series. One of the oddest homestands the Marlins have ever had. A 4-game homestand, 2-game series. Marlins split with the Reds. The Braves won the first game last night and are leading here in the 9th, trying to pick up an insurance run, make life easier for their closer, Mike Gonzalez. Fly ball, left field, not too deep. Hermite is over, caught by Carroll. Runner coming. Carroll's throw on the money. He's out. What a play!
All that pregame practice paid off right there for Brett Carroll.
Hermite dashed in front, and Carroll guns him out.
sense is that there was a little communication, and even though Jeremy Hermida cut in front, they knew that Brett Carroll was going to make this play a better angle to make the throw. Came up, made the throw, and it was perfect. Look at that, squared up to the plate, a one-hop strike to John Baker to get Schaefer, who has good speed, coming in from third.
So the Marlins keep it at 2 runs, but the Braves have their closer on, who shut the door last night, the gyrating Mike Gonzalez, who gets Jorge Cantu, Jeremy Hermida, and Dan Uggla.
And the always in motion Mike Gonzalez.
Cantu swings and misses.
And we saw him last night. He came in and threw some good fastballs, struck out Maben and Hanley in the 9th inning for 2 of the outs.
Cantu didn't face him. 0 for 3 is Cantu. Gonzalez misses inside. Well, he's not afraid to challenge hitters. Guy that had a nice run in Pittsburgh. This his 3rd season with the Braves. Cantu pops it out into center. Johnson's out, and he makes the catch. And Gonzalez gets his first out of the 9th. Kind of hidden gem in Pittsburgh. Go back to some of the years he had, the ERAs. 2004, his ERA was 1.25. 05, 2.70. 06, 2.17. And pitched really well with the Braves in 07, but then had Tommy John surgery. 5 games last year, back in the closer's role this year.
He's in a pretty good groove. You could see that last night, and he's back in that same groove today. Of course, when you play 2 games within 24 hours, you usually don't get out of that groove, good or bad.
Hermida takes up. Jeremy's lined out, bounced out, walked. Two and 2. Originally drafted by the Pirates, then traded to the Red Sox, and then the Pirates got him back along with Freddie Sanchez. Hermida lifts it in the air. Anderson looking into the sun, makes the catch. And Mike Gonzalez has faced 5 hitters within the last 24 hours and has retired all 5 of them. He's 1 out away from nailing down this save for Jair Jurgens.
And we talked about the middle of the Braves lineup has been solid and produced all their runs. The 4 through 7 hitters for the Marlins, 0 for 13 today. All the offense has come from Hanley.
Uggla takes outside. Uggla swings and misses. Remember, the next spot in the order is the pitcher spot. So Alfredo Amezaga is there. The Marlins in that double switch for Cody Ross brought him out of the ball game. Here's the 1-1. Uggla gets tied up, and it is 1 and 2. It's unsettling. It's got to be for a hitter, isn't it, Hut? Watching a guy like that go round and round, you're not really sure when he's starting his windup.
Another guy. Well, I think it's because he likes that rocking motion. That's part of his his routine.
In the air, Kochman has room, makes the catch, and the Braves get a 2-game sweep of the Marlins. The Marlins swept the Braves in Atlanta about 3 weeks ago, and the Braves come in, and in a mini series, they take 2. Jair Jurgens gets the win. He is now 3.